911, what is the address of your emergency?
61.
Is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Okay, and what's your callback number?
It's 701. Okay. My dad was just shot.
Okay, do you know who?
I don't know.
Are you at this location?
Yes, yeah. I don't know what to do. He's cold.
Okay. Do you know, did you just come home and he was shot? Like, can you give me some information?
Yes, I came over to...
Go ahead.
I came over to sell a gun, and I walked in the door, and he's at the bottom of the stairs, and there's blood.
Okay.
He's cold.
Okay. But we don't know that this just happened, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I just got here, but I don't know. Can you send somebody?
I've got units en route to you, okay?
Okay.
I hate to ask this, but do you think that your dad is beyond help at this point? Or do you want to try CPR? He's cold.
He's cold. He's cold. Like, his face is purple.
Okay, all right. So I've got units en route to you, okay? Is there anyone else?
You want me to try CPR?
That is entirely up to you. If you think that we can help him, I can walk you through CPR. It's what you want to do and what you're comfortable with.
There's blood coming out of his nose.
Okay, do you want to try CPR?
It's birthday. It's the birthday song, right?
No, I can walk you through all of it. Do you want to try?
Yes, I'm trying.
Okay, all right. Is he flat right now?
His feet are on the stairs.
Okay, we need to get him flat on his back. Can you pull him back a little bit? You tell me when he's flat, okay?
Okay.
We just need to make sure that he's flat on the ground and that we don't have anything under his head, okay? Is he flat?
Okay, he's flat on the ground and there's nothing under his head.
Okay, I want you to place your hand on his forehead and your other hand under his neck. Then tilt the head back, okay? I want you to put your ear next to his mouth. Can you feel or hear any breathing?
No, he's purple.
He's purple. Okay, is he hard?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think that we should do CPR at this point. I don't think it's going to help him.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just leave him where he's at, and let's go upstairs so that you can just let the units in and guide them to where they are. Is there anyone else in the home right now?
I don't know. The dog is here someplace. Ugh.
Okay, let's go. Do you want to just go outside maybe and wait for them to come?
Okay.
Okay.
No, I don't want. Okay.
Just stay on the phone with me. They're on their way. I just want you to go outside and maybe wait for them. Okay. What is your name?
Christopher Vickerman.
Is the gun still there?
I don't see one.
Okay. No. Does it look like he possibly could have done this himself?
I'm not sure. I don't see a gun anywhere. I'm outside.
Okay, all right. We're just going to wait out there for units to arrive, okay?
Okay. Here's the cop here.
Deputy Josh Lund, with the patrol deputy with the Orange County Sheriff's Department.
All right, hang tight.
I immediately observed a male laying at the foot of the stairs. It was a split entry style home. Stairs going up, stairs going down, and I observed a male laying at the foot of the downstairs in the lower level.
Headquarters 414.
Entered and went up to the victim and determined that he appeared to be deceased.
Looks like a single gunshot to the upper right chest. Oh, back up, puppers.
Jordan Fraley. When I arrived, Officer Lund was already on scene, and then there was a male standing outside the front door.
Came over to sell a gun, and just was at the bottom of the stairs. Okay. So, did he
say anything to you or anything like that over the last few days? Or?
No, we haven't really been in touch. We hung out at MagicCon,
Okay.
and that was the last time I saw him until today.
Okay.
I came up here because he's a gunsmith,
Yeah.
and I needed to sell my gun because I got to pay rent.
Okay.
So, I mean, he kind of knows I've been on and off.
Okay. All right.
You don't see a
Hey, Lund,
security system anywhere, do you? Yeah. Yeah.
you need help clearing?
No. Should be just finished the last bit.
All right. Up in here, so if we want to step around the corner here. When was the last time you saw him?
Like I said, MagicCon would have been, what is that, Magic this week? 2 weeks ago?
Gosh, I don't know.
It wasn't that long ago. It was 2 weeks ago.
Maybe 2 weeks ago. Do you remember what day it was by chance?
It was on a Saturday.
Saturday, about 2 weeks ago.
26th.
26th? Okay.
So I saw him on the 26th. And
The 26th of April we're talking about?
yeah,
Okay. About what time do you suppose on the 26th?
we spent all day together.
The entire day?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had the kids and we spent all day together.
Okay. That was the last time you saw him, right?
Right? Yeah.
When was the last time you talked to him? Was that the same day?
I tried to call him before I came up here, but he wasn't answering.
Okay.
And I called my mom and she said he wasn't answering. She said he might have been fishing. I went, oh, I'm gonna come up and check.
Okay. How did he seem when you were with him on the 26th?
No, we made masks together for
Okay.
the kids. We had lunch together.
Things seemed normal and
he seemed
okay.
great.
Okay. Is your mom or anybody like that around, or
She was at work. I called her.
She's at work?
She works at Bishop Ryan. So
Bishop Ryan? Have you talked to her at all since you've gotten here?
not since I've gotten here. I asked the dispatcher to call my mom.
Okay.
So I don't even know what the heck I'd tell her.
Yeah. And right now we'll take care of getting her here and make sure that you guys are at least together.
Right?
If you want to just hang tight here, I'm just going to go grab my patrol phone and see if I can just get a hold of her.
Okay.
Okay? Or at least ask dispatch. Maybe they've already gotten hold of her.
I don't know what I'd say though. Like,
Just don't worry about it, Chris. We'll take care of it, okay? Thank you. Just try to relax, try to stay calm. You know what I mean?
I don't even know what to do.
No, it's one of those things that it's just a shock. I get it. So just try to, stay calm, and if you need something, I'm going to be right over in my car grabbing my phone.
Thanks.
And I'll be right back here, okay? Say, Chuck. So, his mom works at Bishop Ryan.
Okay.
So the wife of Dad here, how do we want to handle that? Like,
The wife?
yeah, the wife of this guy that's dead works at Bishop Ryan. I don't think she's been notified yet.
Oh, shit.
We'll let Strenimo
Okay.
handle that.
You need a hand with this?
Nah, I got this.
Okay. Do you know of anybody that would want to hurt him or anything like that? Or?
No, the detective talked to me like a month and a half ago that someone shot a house that we built together. But,
Okay.
he asked questions then, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Sure.
He deals guns all day, but,
Right.
so everyone in North Dakota hunts, so it's
No,
his
absolutely.
clientele is
Yeah.
hunters and you guys.
Yeah, right.
I bet half of you guys know who he was.
Yeah. I guess I didn't know personally, but I just have to speak to the detective here quick.
Okay.
You okay? As good as you can be? So guys at the bottom of the stairs, looks like Lund actually went down there and saw him. It looks like he got shot in the chest or something like that, but I don't think they found a gun in there yet. He says that he hasn't seen him since the 26th of April and hasn't talked to him since either.
This is his son?
Yeah, this is his son right here. He's the one that found him. Since the 26th, he said that he was just coming up here to sell him a gun because he needed to pay for rent. He tried calling and he didn't answer, so he just came up here. And then he found him at the bottom of the stairs.
Okay.
So that's essentially what I got from him so far. Do you want me to go to Bishop Ryan?
Somebody's gonna have to soon.
Anastasia Vickerman.
You don't know if he was shocked.
He was my husband.
I think that, yes.
Oh my God. My son, he called me and he said he was gonna go there and see if he could sell a gun. because he needed money for rent. We owe 2 mortgages on the house. We just bought that ice castle. We were gonna go camping next weekend. Didn't they know when this happened?
They haven't narrowed everything down, but the investigator can't do anything further until we actually get permission to search your house.
Here's my rock. He never leaves the front door open. Unless he's with the customer. The garage door is always locked. He doesn't let anybody come in without showing him that the rifle or whatever it is empty.
Anastasia was upset her husband, Mark Vickerman, didn't receive a final prayer before he passed. The father, a month shy of his 56th birthday, was a Grand Knight of the Catholic service order called the Knights of Columbus, and the couple, who were married for almost 34 years, were members of the Our Lady of Grace Catholic Church. The pair met in high school, with Mark being Anastasia's first and only. They moved to Minot in 2001, had 3 children, and imposed on themselves a structured home life, which included a 40-plus year plan for how they divided up home duties.
The deal was I did the first 20 years and he did the second 20 years.
At the same time, Mark retired in the fall of 2005 from the National Guard after nearly a quarter century in the force. Anastasia, who was a stay-at-home mom in the first 20 years, became a teacher at Bishop Ryan. So despite operating the Mark's Gunworks business from the home's basement, the patriarch was cooking, doing the yard work, paying the bills, doing the taxes, but not the laundry, Anastasia said jokingly. Those duties also included caring for their children and grandchildren, namely Chris Vickerman's kids.
He spent a lot of time with them. He would get down on the floor and play cards. He and my grandson liked to watch hockey, play Crazy Eights. He taught them basically the same things that he had taught his kids, how to build things.
The family loved hunting, fishing, and camping. The Vickermans, in fact, had just bought an ice castle RV, which was going to be used for an upcoming weekend where they planned to take their grandchildren camping.
I saw that he was a loving father, caring. He was strict, but he was there for his kids. He would do anything for them.
Anastasia and Mark, who was also on the board of the Minot Gun Club and taught hunter safety, did not allow their children to have toy guns. And whenever the kids did take hold of a real one, he had a rule.
Always treat a gun as if it was loaded. Never pointed at a person or a living object.
He similarly had 2 rules when dealing with clients of his gunsmithing business: no surprise visits, and no loaded guns when you came to his door. That would have also applied to his son Chris. When the 28-year-old approached the door that afternoon, he was carrying a Tikka T3 rifle in a case. Mark would sometimes buy Chris's guns and keep it in his private inventory for his son to buy back when he had the funds. Because it's not like Mark needed any more firearms. He had lots of them, and everywhere in the house. Anastasia, in fact, says she did not know how close he kept some of them.
He had pistols hidden throughout the house and one in the garage. He had one in the bedside stand, one under the bed, one in his sock drawer, his office, in the desk, and one in his workroom.
Mark appeared to be on high alert, but for what? Or for whom?
Do you know of your brother to have any issues with anybody?
No. I mean, I saw him months ago when he was down here to see our father.
Okay.
You know, we chatted, and he was just like feeling good because he just bought a new camper and a new Suburban to pull it with, and you know, didn't seem to have any issues going on.
You know, a number of people we talked to said that he was really excited about this camper.
One could point to a shooting at a home in Eastwood Park less than 3 months earlier. A resident reported hearing a single gunshot that had pierced the side of the house, traveled through the living room, and landed in the hallway. But there were no cameras capturing the assailant, and no one was apprehended for it. The drive-by shooting was relevant because Mark Vickerman owned the home prior to selling it 3 months earlier. Chris, who called to tell his mom about it later, raised the incident as a possible lead in an interview with police the day after his father's death.
Who had issues with your dad?
I honestly don't know.
And that's kind of what we're running into too. People that we've talked to said he was a great guy.
Yeah. I would say that I have no clue. I know that I was in here a month ago or so for that other the shooting at the other house that him and I had built, and he had taken, and when we had our falling apart. But
Mark and Chris purchased the Eastwood Park home in 2013 and folded it into a business that flipped distressed properties for profit. Mark co-signed on the mortgage and took out a loan against his own home to make payments. It was a business born out of a historic catastrophe in the state.
The flood of 2011.
Nearly 10,000 residents of Minot, North Dakota are fleeing their town ahead of historic flooding.
We are already higher than the historic flood of 1969.
The Souris River flood of 2011 caused flood damage to roughly 1/3 of the homes in Minot, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. One of those affected homes was Chris's Oak Park residence, which he bought just 2 years out of high school in 2010.
20-year-old being able to buy his own home without us co-signing. We were very proud.
The flood represented a dramatic turnaround of fortune, made worse by the fact that his girlfriend of 5 years also left that same year.
He was under a lot of stress, probably depressed.
But his parents were there to back him. Having already had a job operating on air conditioning units and with some experience in home reno, including on the Vickerman residence, Chris and Mark got to work.
We helped him gut it, and we helped rebuild it.
Chris stayed in the rebuilt home and in late 2012 met a woman named Tangeray. The couple dated for a year before moving in together in 2013. By then, she was 7 months pregnant with their son. That's when the business-minded 23-year-old purchased, with his father as co-signer, the Eastwood Park home and quickly learned how distressed the property was. During repairs, the basement collapsed, so they tore it all down and worked to build it up from scratch. But they did not finish it. The job was a money sink. Chris said the cost of the rebuild set father and son back at least $40,000 each. According to Anastasia, Chris and Mark often disagreed with how things should be done with these construction projects. Chris thought Mark shouldn't have gotten involved in the construction, and Mark thought there was some impropriety on his son's end with respect to the business itself, according to a friend of the older Vickerman.
That he thought that that there was mismanagement in the LLC concerning monies, and that he was getting out of that LLC to protect his gunsmithing business.
Despite being incomplete, Chris moved into the unfinished home with his fiancée, by whom he'll have 2 children in 2014 and 2015, and rented out his first home to tenants.
Chris had started his own business. He had a girlfriend, and they moved in together into the house before it was finished. And eventually, when he stopped making payments, I had to ask him to move out.
I was having problems finding work, and paying 2 mortgages isn't fun. My tenants had left my other house, because I still have another house over here.
Before he was removed from the home, in August 2016, his fiancée Tangeray took the kids and left, citing domestic issues.
He was sleeping a lot, drinking more, and then he just stopped working.
Tried to get little jobs. I was working at Olive Garden, and I was working at Classic Rock Coffee, and then I ended up finding work in Minnesota. So then I vacated the house, and he said he was going to take over payments from then.
Chris left Minot for Minnesota in June 2017, leaving the older Vickermans shouldering the payments on the fixer-upper, which Mark desperately sought to sell through classifieds that he signal boosted on Facebook.
Well, there was a lot of bitterness there. Absolutely. Mark had more bitterness than I did.
The weight was finally lifted when it sold in November 2018. The home saga was finally behind them. That is, until February 2019.
Shooting at the house.
And I understand that you denied any involvement in that.
I didn't even know. So, news I got was when the detective came in and talked to me. So,
The shooting occurred a little over a year after Chris returned to Minot from Minnesota, where Anastasia said her son left her brother-in-law Leo's place after the homeowner allegedly raised the rent and Chris refused to pay. In his short phone interview with Minot PD, Leo did not mention rent and did not directly point the finger at anyone who may have shot Mark. But he did provide the investigator with something to chew on.
I really hate to bring this up, but his son exhibits symptoms of schizophrenia. Chris stayed with me last summer, and he definitely has audio hallucinations. He hears voices. He talks to them. I don't know that he's ever been violent. However, I do know that he had a really big issue with his dad.
I know one thing right away is we'll want a full statement from this kid. Okay. I'm gonna go down and see what it looks like on this side and what it looks like and stuff first. Say, Chris. I just need to collect a quick recorded statement from you. Sure. Is it alright if we just step over to my patrol car? Had you talked to him at all between the 26th and today?
No, I talk to my mom like every night. And
Okay.
so sometimes he's there.
Okay, but you hadn't talked to him specifically?
No,
though?
I call my mom almost every day, and he answers sometimes, but
Okay.
we don't really say much. We say hi,
Right.
but other than that, I just talk to my mom, ask her how the day was, and my kids hang out here a lot. So
Okay. So when do you suppose was the last time you talked to your mom or you knew your dad was around?
I talked to my mom today, and she said that he was maybe going fishing, but she hadn't heard yet. So.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, he's here every day, as far as I know.
Right.
Because he works out of the house. So.
Oh, absolutely. Have you heard anything that anybody that either has any ill will towards your dad, or did you hear anything that would maybe make you think that he was possibly suicidal or anything like that? Or
I don't know. Depression runs in our family, but I don't know if he'd ever do that.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know anyone that had it out for him.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Did you let Chris take that dog?
Huh?
Did you let Chris take that dog?
Not my call. So
He hasn't had that dog for more than 2 years. And
Okay.
when he had it, he beat it.
okay. So, like I said,
That's the nicest dog in the world, and if you let him go, he's just gonna beat on it.
okay. I'll let them know.
But for the meantime, I am going to ask not to go inside yet, just because I'm not exactly sure what they're doing in there, so. Hey, pups. Hi. Yeah. I'm just going to step in and see if he needs something else from me. I collected a statement from him. They've had multiple best times before. Kid and dad.
Oh, kid and dad.
He said that he had moved him. He said that when he came in, that the feet were up and his butt was on the last step. And then he had to get this flat because he was going to start doing the.
I think he was right here.
And then went down. Bullet hole in the wall, but it's above the stairs, so.
There's 2 shots?
It looks like it. There's one little looks like a 22.
Is there a gun in there anywhere?
Well, there's guns everywhere, but there's no gun.
Laying anywhere?
No gun, not that I can't see a gun, I can't see a spent anywhere in there either.
The neighbors over here seem like they don't like this guy here.
Yeah.
She immediately says, "What do you do now?" I said, "I can't say."
Yeah. Well, she got mad at me because we were going to let him take the dog. So.
Go get with whatever on-call state's attorney there is and just do a search warrant for this house.
Okay. Okay.
So, shouldn't be anything. I mean, you got just as much information as everybody else.
Yo.
Who got blasted?
Huh?
Who got blasted?
Mark Vickerman.
Mark Vickerman?
Yep.
Gunshot wound to the chest, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Huh. And his kid found him, or who?
That's who called it in anyway.
They're kind of suspicious.
Well, I guess they've had umpteen domestics between the two of them.
So he's probably being detained then, or what?
Yeah.
Hello, it's Mark.
Hey, Mark, this is Rob. I'm a detective with the Minot PD.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I just had a couple quick questions. That 8th Street Southeast residence, you guys had sold it recently, it sounds like?
Yeah, last November.
Okay. Somebody had damaged some parts of it last night.
Okay.
Do you know if Tangeray or Chris had any issues with anybody? Because I don't believe the tenant in it now had any involvement as far as people having animosity towards them.
Tang did not have any issues whatsoever.
Okay, what about Chris that you know of?
He has some problems.
Okay. Are they drug-related stuff or just mental stuff?
Mental, which is exacerbated by marijuana.
Okay. Do you know of anybody that he had issues with?
That he had issues with?
Mm-hmm.
Primarily, probably me.
Was he mad when you guys had to sell the house?
He has not spoken to me for well over a year.
Okay.
He's always, I think, in his mind thought that he should be able to keep it, but he didn't make any payments on it, so.
We didn't even tell him we sold the house.
Okay.
We didn't even tell him. When the detective came and wanted to talk to Mark, he, told him he has his guns back. And, at first he said, I bet you Chris found out we sold the house. Then he got pissed.
All right. Yeah, I was just following up with to see who kind of caused the damage to the house, and because the people that live there now, they don't have any issues with anybody or anything like that. So.
Okay, so was it firearms related?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you familiar with me?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'm a gunsmith.
Okay.
I know, to my knowledge, he says he sold them, but I can give you a grocery list of firearms that my son had possession of one time.
Yeah, if you have it, that'd be great.
Okay, I have to put it together. I'm not going to give it to you on the phone.
Yeah, no, like I said, you could come down here or shoot me an email. It doesn't matter.
No, if you want it, you come get it.
Okay.
Chris actually, he's been diagnosed with schizophrenia. I'm not saying that he would have done that, but it's a possibility. I wouldn't put it past him to do something like that.
That was Tangeray, who said she first noticed Chris's symptoms after their first child was born in February 2014. She claimed he drank, became erratic, and made her fear for her and her children's safety. He became more aggressive when he stopped taking his meds, she said. Christopher would say things that did not make sense to me, and he even started talking to himself, she said, according to court records. This was a side of Christopher that I had never seen before, and it made me afraid.
She loved him. He loved her, and she would move out and move back in, and the last time she was like, I can't take it anymore. He was violent. Take a bag of sugar, threw it against the wall, and then walk out. He would come home drunk and drop all over the floor and not clean it up.
The tension reached a climax when, on February 22, 2016, she claimed that he threatened to rip her teeth out. The next day, she received a temporary protection order against him, but she never accused him of physically harming her. Her request for a permanent injunction was denied in March, and the order was dismissed. What followed was another 5 months of cohabitation until August 2016, when Tangeray packed up and left with the kids. The couple reached an agreement regarding parenting time that Chris thought was going well, but that Tangeray claimed was failing. She said the kids spent most of the time with her and that he was unable to consistently tend to the children's needs, including managing their emotions. She claimed that he didn't want her to work and, after she started a position in retail, would call her to come home right away to take care of the children. She alleged there were many times he would have to ask her or his mom for food and diapers. Christopher simply could not provide the children with their basic needs, she claimed in an affidavit. Chris claimed he had some contact with Tangeray and the children during the period he was living in Minnesota, including staying with her for weeks at a time, but she claimed he only had minimal contact with the children between the time he left the state and when he permanently returned to Minot on October 15th, 2017.
He wanted his kids, and so he was told that he had to get a job and a place to live.
Not having a place to stay, Chris resided with friends and in his truck until he was able to secure the Brooklyn Heights apartment he stayed in at the time of the incident. He claimed that when he moved back, he spent all but Tuesdays and Wednesdays with his children, which were days when Tangeray was not working. He said he would take the kids to and from school and would cook, read, play, and do household chores with them. Tangeray, however, gave the court a different version. She claimed Chris would bring the children back dirty, hungry, tired, and crying, and refused to follow instructions for the care of one of their children, who had a medical condition. She said after that, she did everything she could to keep him from taking the children. The primary concerns are psychological maltreatment due to domestic violence, caregiver capacity, physical abuse, physical neglect, and Christopher's unaddressed mental health needs, read one court petition. We learned from custody documents that Chris was admitted to a psychiatric ward at a Minot hospital and was again diagnosed with schizophrenia and cannabis and alcohol disorder, and was at another time diagnosed with ADHD and a mood disorder with anxiety and depressive episodes. So before he could get near his kids, he was recommended for an evaluation by the Ward County Social Services the month he returned to Minot in October 2017, which was about a year after he and Tangeray split. The court gave his ex-fiancée primary responsibilities over the kids and had Chris go through an institution called the Village Family Services to see his offspring. Chris appeared to interact normally with the children according to summer 2018 observation notes from the village supervisors. He claimed in court that the children enjoyed seeing him and didn't like that they had to keep going to the village for visits. But during a clinical session months later, in October 2018, he refused to recognize that he may need treatment. The provider noted that he had delusional and disorganized thinking, which is consistent with schizophrenia. He argued with the provider and became agitated and frustrated. When medication and other treatment were recommended, he walked out of the session. The court will not place the children in peril by allowing Christopher Vickerman primary or equal residential responsibilities for these young children, read a November 2018 interim order. Tangeray will remain the parent with interim primary residential responsibilities. With a final order of the court 2 months away, Chris's parents were concerned. His mother noted that Chris only sought treatment for his issues to further his goal of getting closer to his children. Outside of that, he was not acting normal. She recalls 2 events that alarmed her.
The last time Chris was in our home was at Easter, 2018.
Did something happen at that time?
Yes. Chris came in and he started pacing back and forth. And then he'd sit in the chair and he'd shake and laugh. Nobody was there. At one point, he sat down at the table and said, I'm fine, you're fine, I'm fine, and cried. I was in the hallway, and he was very affectionate, and he was holding me. And he hugged me in a way that you don't hug your mom. I had asked him to leave to get his poop in a group, and then he could come back. But that was the last time that he was in our home.
Without evidence to the contrary, Chris was walking around untreated.
I begged him to go get help.
And did he, to your knowledge?
No. I had text Mark at 3:15 wondering if he had gone fishing because it was windy. Chris called me at 3:35. Hi, Mom. What are you doing? Where's my kids? He always said that. He told me that he needed money for rent and that he was going to sell Mark a gun. I thought, wow, they have to talk to each other. Maybe they can work things out. This could be the beginning of something.
Investigators observed holes in the walls of the home and a projectile in a closet on the top floor, but no shell casings inside the residence. Outside, however, lay a .22 caliber shell underneath the bench beside the front door. It appeared Mark was shot by someone at the door, which had fixed on it a camera that was recording back to his workshop surveillance system. The home showed no signs of disturbance otherwise, and a neighborhood canvass did not yield any surveillance footage. A search warrant was executed on Chris's car, a Pontiac Grand Prix, which was parked at an angle on the driveway. Some key observations that will be made about the car is that it had a slanted license plate, some water residue on the bumper, and 5-spoke wheels. Inside was loose ammo and casings in the center console and on the driver floorboard, which included hollow point rounds, as well as a box of .22 LR ammo. A second search was done in his apartment, after he was allowed to return to it. They found that orange bracelet and sunglasses that appeared similar to the ones he wore that day, but not his pants or shoes. There was also a gun on the kitchen cabinet, a scoped rifle and a shotgun in one of the bedrooms, a gun box in another closet, and a revolver in a duffel bag full of ammo, all of which were out in the open. One gun, however, was not. Inside a kitchen cabinet was a hole that provided access to the plumbing for the adjacent bathroom. Resting on its barrel was a Ruger Mark II .22 caliber target pistol. It was interesting not just because it was hidden, but because it also appeared like it had been placed there recently, judging by the fact that it had no dust or debris like its surrounding environment. The goal was to match the suspicious .22 caliber firearm to the 4 projectiles recovered from Mark's body and the shell under the bench. Mark had 2 gunshot wounds to his right chest, one to the back of the head from a greater distance than close range, and another to his right back. The medical examiner could not tell the sequence of the shots, but each could have been fatal on their own. Minot PD enlisted the help of a man named Franz Meritz of the South Dakota Forensic Laboratory, at the time one of only about 30 people in the world with a certain certification that encompassed 3 specific disciplines: firearms identification, tool mark identification, and muzzle-to-target distance expertise. They needed this type of knowledge because the .22 caliber hollow point rounds recovered from Mark's body were inconclusive to the Ruger Mark II, as the rounds were deformed and damaged. The closest they were going to get to a match was replicating the rifling characteristics found on the casing under the bench to a test fire round from Chris's gun. To simplify, different guns have unique chambers that will stamp the casing when it expands after the weapon is fired. For a link to be made, a minimum of 2 unique characteristics of the gun must be left on the casing, according to Franz. The subsequent test round didn't just have the unique chamber impression of the Ruger Mark II, but it also carried its unique firing pin impression as well. Franz testified that when they get 2 characteristics, they stop looking for others. Despite that, the expert could not definitively testify that the casing matched the recovered shots or that Chris's Ruger Mark II was the one to fire them. Part of his conclusion was that he could not exclude the gun as a match.
Did you have anything to do with this, Chris?
No.
Is that the truth?
Yeah.
With that, investigators, looking at a case with only circumstantial evidence, were now going to have to piece together some video evidence to round out the story, including surveillance footage from a camera in Mark's office that captured his death.
Did you know your dad has video in the house?
Yeah, I knew he had some cameras in the house.
The video shows Mark turning toward the stairs and then falls on his back at the base of it. Moments later, it shows the legs of the suspect and the left arm as he reaches down to pick up the shell casings. His face never makes it in the camera's view before he leaves. Correcting the time on the tape, investigators found that Mark was shot at just before 2 p.m. The question left to answer was, could they show that Chris was in the area at this time?
When his business fell apart, he blamed Mark. He said that Mark was the one that made his business fall apart because he got involved with the billing part of it, and he was doing things that he didn't want Mark to do. And so when his business dissolved, he just said nothing to Mark. Just, we're done.
And then was there something about selling the house?
Yeah, well, he put it for sale then. Once I moved out, I said, you know, you can put it for sale, take whatever profits you make off of it.
You were okay with that?
It hurt a little bit, but I mean, I was out $40,000, and if my name was tied to that loan still, so if we could pay off the loan, I didn't really care other than the $40,000. And then eventually it came down to I sold him the house so that he could take payments over completely.
Chris was significantly downplaying how upset he really was with his father in this answer. It wasn't just that he effectively cut off all communications with Mark after the business fell apart, but he did not want him anywhere near his kids. One event on April 18th, 2018, made his posture toward his dad very clear.
I was at work and Tane was home, and she called Mark and said, Chris is coming over, and I don't want him here. Chris shot to Mark, and Mark got in the door and stood between Tane and Chris, and the kids were behind Tane, and Chris just punched him in the mouth. You know, $1,500 damage, broke a tooth. Just Mark says, you know, get the hell out of here, and you call the cops, and he said, go ahead, and all this, you know, back and forth. And, you know, since then, it was over.
The altercation moved Mark to immediately warn the head of his wife's workplace, Bishop Ryan Catholic School, about his out-of-control son, which prompted the school to get a no trespass order against Chris that was effective in January 2019.
He was concerned about Chris and the safety of the kids at the school.
To be sure, Anastasia and Mark, at least at some point, feared Chris. Two of Mark's friends recalled examples of that.
There are times that he would give me a call and tell me if I could come over for a while, if he expected Chris to come over. He was concerned with what Chris might do.
He told me on several different occasions that he was afraid of his son, and on two different specific conversations. This would be Mark speaking. If anything ever happens to me, you'll know who did it. He said that on one occasion, and on another occasion he said, if anything ever happens to me, you'll know that it was Chris that did it.
The tension was ramped up when the court made its final ruling on custody in January 2019, maintaining Tangeray's primary residential and sole decision-making responsibilities of the children. Chris was given 3 parenting time sessions per week through the village, and 1 phone call per day, depending on availability of the children. It was an arrangement that involved and was supported by Anastasia and Mark, who were concerned about the children's safety in his care.
Our son didn't want us in the courtroom, but we were concerned for their safety because Chris would come and get them from us, and sometimes he didn't have the things that the kids needed. I didn't know if they had food. I didn't know if they had hats and gloves in the winter, if they were warm enough. We felt that the grandkids were being taken care of better by their mom.
The defendant shall also have 1 parenting time session per month to be arranged through the defendant's parents, Mark and Anastasia Vickerman, the court ruled. The defendant's parents shall have full discretion on the time and place of the monthly parenting time session. The defendant's parents shall have full discretion on the length of the parenting time session and shall have the authority to end the session should the defendant engage in any inappropriate conduct.
When their mom went to work, we would care for them. They would be dropped off in the morning. My husband, if it was a weekday, would take our grandson, later our granddaughter when she started preschool, to school. He would pick up our grandson at lunch, feed them, take our grandson to another school for the rest of the day.
Then a month after the court's ruling, in February 2019, the once joint-owned Eastwood Park home is shot up. Police did not have evidence it was Chris, but his family didn't need much to believe it was him. Chris, whose consolation was an opportunity for the court to revisit the arrangement, fought for sole custody of his children and asked that the court impose child support on Tanqueray. Not only did the court reject that, but it got his parents involved in the matter too. Needless to say, Chris did not like his parents having discretion over his kids. For example, he would get frustrated when Mark dictated what the children would eat. Anastasia said Chris would try to get away with feeding them junk food.
And I got on his case when he had him last because he fed him chips and cookies for supper.
It all just served to upset Chris more and more, but he wasn't in a position to do anything about it. He could only afford to visit his children once a week at the village, so his parents, specifically Mark, offered a free day with them, in public, because Mark was concerned about Chris's behavior. Despite the olive branch, Anastasia described the meetups as tense.
Chris and Mark were not on speaking terms. Chris would not treat Mark as if he was even there sometimes.
Chris's sister told police that he complained often about their father not explaining why he wasn't available when they were kids, which was because he was in the National Guard.
I didn't understand why he treated Mark that way. Chris had told me that Mark was evil. He told me I should divorce him and move in with him so I could take care of his kids. He started to call Mark your husband and not Dad.
On the other hand, Chris was much closer to his mother and even discussed future plans without Mark in the picture. He would call her just about every day. That is, until his fight for custody that involved parents who effectively sided with his ex.
You know, this is stupid, but I often thought that he would come in and kill both of us while we were sleeping.
Chris already could not stand Mark being around his kids when he was present. How about Mark being around his kids for an upcoming camping trip without him present at all?
When you heard that this happened to Mark, did you think of anybody else?
No.
Nobody else as suspects? Did you think of Chris?
Yes.
What do you think Chris's motive, reasoning?
We bought this ice castle and we're gonna take the kids camping with us without paying. It's just gotta work all the time.
So it'll be just you and the kids? No Chris?
Right.
Okay.
And did he find out about that?
Yeah, these kids kept telling him, you know, we're so excited we get to go camping and blah, blah, blah. And so that could have been it. Mark, he must have thought that, I don't know, if he would think that Chris would shoot him, kill him. Because I always say, how can you think that? He's your son. So he really didn't.
Do you think Mark thought Chris would have the capacity to kill him?
Yes.
Chris Vickerman started the day of the incident at 7:30 a.m. when he checked into a 24/7 sobriety program after getting hit with a DUI. Half an hour later, at just after 8 a.m., his Pontiac Grand Prix rolls into a makeshift parking spot at a construction site. He is scheduled to do a waste and vents job for his employer, Comfort Solutions Plumbing, which had been contracted to lay some foundation at an establishment called the Original Bar. Chris works for a couple of hours and then leaves for his lunch break to run some errands, including collecting a $1,000 check from a boss at another one of his employers, RHI. He then pulls into Dakota Bank, enters, and then cashes part of that check. He then goes to 2 more banks, including the First Western at noon, to deposit the money. He says he then picks up some work parts and returns to the construction site at just before 1 p.m.
Tell me about the rest of your day then. So are you back at work then?
Yep, then I just finished up the afternoon at the Original.
Okay, and you said you were gone about an hour?
I don't know, not even.
Okay.
He says at around 3:30 p.m. he leaves work and gets the idea to sell his rifle to his dad to pay off his DUI fine, which is the reason he gave Minot PD the day after. But when he gets to his father's home, he finds him laying at the base of the steps.
Let me tell you something. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. your whole life. A lot of times when I talk to people, they give me a story of what happened. And I kind of refer to it as sometimes they dig a hole. You know what that means, right? That's normal, and I get it. But we've been working hard, so we've got a lot of information on what happened to your dad. And we know that you were involved. We know that, Chris. We've watched a lot of video. I've watched you go to and from the scene.
In fact, in plain view of the camera across the street, Chris can be seen pulling out of work at 1:30 p.m. Using surveillance cameras at businesses along the major thoroughfare called Broadway, investigators say they were able to see his Pontiac Grand Prix with its slanted license plate, water residue, and 5-spoke wheels traveling toward his father's house around the time of the murder. It is still very hard to make out which car it is, so I won't try to point it out here.
We can see you on that video, not your face, but we can see what you're wearing on your feet and your pants. When you reach down to pick up the casings, you eventually dropped one of those outside. You can see your bracelets. And there's a reason for everything, Chris, and it's written all over your face. I don't know why, but why don't you tell me? Why did this happen?
I don't understand.
You shot your dad, Chris. I've been up for hours. We've all been up for hours. You're on the video at your dad's house. You can see those pants, those mauve-colored pants that you're wearing. You can see your shoes. You can see your bracelet. I've got you on video going up to your dad's neighborhood and leaving your dad's neighborhood.
His car is then captured at just after 2 p.m. traveling back to work and arriving at the site minutes later.
What's done is done. We can't undo what's been done. We can't. And you can't. But the important thing is that we try to have this opportunity to talk about why. The why this happened type of thing, and to put some of this at least behind us to try to figure that out. Because this is your opportunity. I guess I'd like a lawyer.
The surveillance footage along Broadway rounded out the state's circumstantial case against Christopher Vickerman, who was arrested the day after the incident. When it came time for closing arguments, the defense pivoted in an unusual move. In its opening statement, it argued for a lack of criminal responsibility due to mental illness.
Christopher Vickerman has a long-standing issue with his mental health. It may have been back when the flood broke his home, things started to go apart. You will be receiving evidence and testimony that he'd been under mental health treatment for an extended period of time.
But by the time the state rested, the defense believed there simply was not enough evidence to prove that he actually did it, and sticking to a mental health defense would simply undermine the sufficiency of evidence case.
During my opening statement, I was focused on criminal responsibility. You're not going to hear me talk about that now. I wanted to bring that out right up front so you understand why I'm doing this. That it's not an attempt to mislead you in any fashion. I don't believe in smoke and mirrors, nothing up the sleeves. We're just here to argue the evidence that has made it into you and whether or not that evidence rises to proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
As such, the defense argued that the state failed to show that Chris was driving the car they claimed to have spotted traveling on Broadway to his father's place, and failed to prove that a Grand Prix with 5-spoke wheels was uncommon. To that, the state simply asked the jury to imagine Chris's luck that a car with all those unique characteristics, the slanted license plate, the water residue on the bumper, and the 5-spoke wheels, is caught traveling to and from the area of his father's place around the time of the murder. Despite finding Chris's Ruger left its unique impressions on the test fire casing that matched the one at the scene, the firearms expert could not definitively say that the Ruger was the one to fire the bullets and eject the casing, the defense continued. But the state argued the minimum 2 matching characteristics proved sufficient. Finally, the defense argued that the home surveillance video that captured Mark's murder did not show an exact match to what Chris was wearing that day. The team pointed to a white strip on the sole of his shoes visible in the Discovery video, but not in the murder one. If you look closely in the murder clip, you cannot really make out the white soul when he's on the landing, and that could simply be because of the shadow created by the sunlight coming from the outside. The sun, however, illuminates that he's wearing high-ankle shoes, perhaps a bracelet on his left wrist, and orangish pants, similar to the color of the pants he'd been wearing that day. It was enough for a jury to find Chris Vickerman guilty of murder. In March 2022, 3 years after the incident, he was sentenced to 100 years in prison, with 20 of those suspended.
I don't really know what to say other than I know it probably doesn't seem fair on either account, but nothing really seems right now. To think that I might be punished for something for the rest of my life that I had zero control over is frightening. I think it's cruel and unusual to not let someone go outside for 3 years. I know my mental health is staggering simply because of the conditions of Ward County Jail. I've lost communication with my family. I haven't been outside in 3 years, and I've been forced to eat greasy spoon food for the last 3 years. We get vegetables once a week. We get 1 apple once a week. I don't know anyone that could keep their mental health in a situation like that. I think there's a lot more wrong here than what meets the eye.
During the sentencing hearing, Anastasia gave what the judge called one of the most compelling impact statements he'd ever seen. It straddled the line between love and anger. Love because this is her son, and she doesn't believe the real Chris did this. And anger because whenever she is unable to do certain things, she is reminded of how much she leaned on Mark.
I miss you. And I love you. You will always be my son. My life has forever been broken. The lives of my grandchildren have been broken. The lives of my daughters have been broken. I lost my husband and my son within 48 hours. And your dad loved you. He would have done anything for you. He wanted things to be better between the two of you. And he took that chance away. You did that. One day, I hope to hear from you. To tell me that you're sorry. Not to say you're sorry that you broke my heart, but to say you're sorry for what you did. Because I'm broken, and you caused that. Know that I love you. I will always love you. But I need you to stay in jail. Because I know that you'll be fed. I know that you'll be clothed, and I know you won't be living out on the streets. You'll be safe. Warm. I love you.
Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to the YouTube members who help pay for the material you see and hear in these videos. I hope you're well, you're engaging in acts of charity, and I'll see you next time. Good night.